Hey all, how's it going? Back for another episode. So we're gonna do a little bit of both. Actually, I'm just gonna give you an update on the 61, and then we're gonna get back on the van. I'm gonna have to kind of undo something I did and redo it, which we'll get into that, and I'll show you what that is. So let's take a look at what we got.
No, you're not bringing home another piece of junk.
Alrighty, so we have functioning door handles inside and out on both sides. I need a little bit of adjustment on the door yet, but wait till I get the gasket on to be sure about that. But anyway, we got that done. Did a little more work on my air cleaner there. I'm about ready to paint that thing. I got to made a little bracket for the side of it that's around here somewhere. Here it is. And we're gonna bolt the map sensor to that and screw it, or I just tack weld that on the side and then just bolt that to that and then paint the thing. So that's done. So I had to dig through all these boxes of door handles and springs and yada yada. But anyway, found all the parts, got all that working, so that's a good deal. Okay, on the van. I realized by sitting here and staring at this thing and taking some measurements that wheel opening is wrong. I don't know if you can see, but it's pitching forward. This from here to the edge of this should be the same from here to the edge of this, and it's not. I'm dropped down about a little over half, 3/4 of an inch. So I'm glad I looked at it and checked it out before I did a whole bunch of welding. So I think I'm just gonna have to cut these and kind of tilt this thing back a little bit and redo it. If I can get the same here and in the center to that line, then I should be pretty close. That's one thing. The other thing I realize I'm going to have to do is I need to establish this line of where this front panel is going to be in relation to the door. So I need this panel down to where it's going to go, and then I can align this back of the edge of the door up with that, and then kind of fill this in. So I'm gonna take this back apart and redo that. Not a huge deal, but that's what we got to do. What I'm gonna do is I need a profile of this door edge, so I'm gonna go out on the other van, hold a piece of cardboard up to this door edge and just trace it, and then use that as my guide to build this thing down here. I got some steel here, got some other steel out there. We're basically just gonna build this down. I don't know exactly how far yet. If we look at it over here, you can see that I've said this a couple times. This side is higher than this side. So I need to kind of fudge where that's gonna be and make kind of one of these, and you get the idea. But hey, that's part of the process, you know. You just got to keep looking at it and looking at it and looking at it, and not getting too much of a rush. And it's my first time doing it, so we got to do a little fix. That's okay. All right, so let me cut this apart. See what we got to do to lean this back, and we'll pick this back up. All right, so we are going to whack this thing back out of here and make some adjustments on it. So you know, not a huge deal. It happens. I'm just kind of visualizing in my head how I'm gonna I'm gonna tilt this thing back and get it straight and make it work right. One other thing I want to do while I got this apart is, so we got this hump on this front part of the fender well. That is not going to work. I need it to be like this, where it's just goes straight across there. I can basically put a 90-degree piece across there like I showed you here. I just want to go right up and over that lip, and then that's going to be my door jamb. So while I got this off, we're going to do that. I'm going to slice this down in here, probably, you know, take a pie cut out of there and get this piece down like that. And then that should give me a little bit of a footwell, not a whole lot, but enough that you can open the door and get your foot up in there and get in there. So, all right, let me, I want to mark that first. No, it's all right. Okay, let me get a grinding wheel in, and I'm going to cut these inside welds that I did, those two brackets, and then we'll cut this. And then I got to get the lip back off the wheel well, because I spot welded on about 3 or 4 places, and then we will go from there. All right, that was easy enough. So we got that whacked out of there. So before I take this lip back off of here, I need to mark how we're going to change this wheel well. And I'm going to go ahead and leave this opening together in one piece when I take this off there, so that when I put it up on there, I can measure that line and make sure I'm square. But basically what I need to do here is this right here. Needs to lay flat. And not necessarily all the way down, because I'm going to have that wheel well in there. So I'm thinking, like, if I need to add on to it, I can. Let's take this piece out to that lip there. And let's leave a little bit to work with to get it down. You're not going to see it, so okay, so let's cut that, cut this, and then I'm going to have to cut some in the back to figure out how we're going to make that lay. So let me get this cut and we'll take another look. Okay, so I cut a couple slices in here, and let's see if this should work. Basically, hope you can see it. I want this to fold down like this. I cut a couple relief cuts here to help this fold and not kink. And then I should be able to get that down even with this, kind of work it a little bit. I'm not going to weld this back together yet. I'm just going to leave this like this, because I don't want this to go this way and end up in the wrong place. So we'll get the lip off of here. I'm going to kind of figure on getting it in the right place. And then I want to bring a post down here. So I am going to cut a piece of this channel, some pretty heavy duty stuff. And we are going to try to make the door line. So basically I want that pillar to come down here, not sure how long yet, and be the backing for the sheet metal to match up with the curve of the door. And the way I'm going to do that, let's get a piece of cardboard and let's go outside, and I'm going to trace that door line on my other van. All right, So I cut me out a piece of cardboard here. This is my door, my profile. So starting at the bottom of this body line, that is where I need this post to go. So I need to go, I need to make a piece to go up into here. I have to trim this, pull it out a little bit. And then I need to, where's my marker? It's gonna have to be about that long. So I need a piece to go this long, essentially in this shape. And that might be a little tough to do with this because this is part of an old cargo van back seat, and this stuff is stout. I don't know if I can I don't know if I could cut that or not. I may be able to. I mean, I could probably cut that and then cut out here and bend this lip over into that. And then up here, leave it just to where it would screw into there, or weld into, slide into there and weld. So, yeah, I might have to see. So this is pretty stout, or I've got some square tubing out scrap pile that I think is thinner wall than this. It would probably be easier to cut and be more along the lines of what that is. So I think we'll do that. I'm gonna go find that square tubing. We're gonna cut a piece this long and see what we got to do to make this shape in it and weld it into this post. And that should get us pretty, if I can do that, that should get us right where we need to be. Okay. All right, we'll go find that piece of scrap and we'll go from there. Okay, so I found this piece of I think it's 1.5 by 1.5, something like that, and I traced my pattern on there. So we'll go like this. See that? So then this we're going to tuck up into here. I'm gonna do a couple spot welds here. I'm gonna do a weld here, and I gotta make sure we get this thing straight. I might clamp, I got some aluminum angle, I might clamp to there, bring it down just to make sure I got my gap right. But we'll get that welded in, and I'll probably put some kind of support over here because I had to split this. But that is going to be my my post. Yep. And I can actually come down. So this is a little bit higher than back here. I can come down past that a little bit if I want to. I just got to make sure that I get this curve in the same place as this curve back here, and we'll do that by, we'll measure the center of the curve off the body line. We'll measure the center of the curve off the body line, make sure we get in the same place. But that's what we're going to do. So let me do some calculating, some measuring, and get that on there. Hey, you know what? I usually don't ask for prayer for myself, but I went to the doctor the other day. Have not been feeling good. Been really, really tired. And he told me I'm a type 2 diabetic. which it kind of runs in my family, and I thought maybe something like that was going on because I've been gaining weight and getting older and just not taking care of myself. So I'm planning to get on it and make some changes, lifestyle changes on eating and exercising, and so a little prayer for support, and you know, the Holy Spirit will jump in and help me out with the willpower problems I got. I love my sweets, and I got to give them up. So anyway, thank you if you would do that, and let's get this welded on. See where we're at. Okay. So I screwed this little piece of angle here, and then I put a few spot welds here. So I'm actually good here. This gap here is good, but I'm kind of floppy back and forth. So I'm going to need to Okay, so it's hot. Let me find a piece of scrap. We'll make an angle for in here or a plate or something, and we'll get ready to tack this in place. All right. So pretty stout. I mean, you can move it if you wanted to. And then I hold this guy up here. I'm like right on the money. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm gonna call that good. Go ahead and pull this angle off there. May put a, might do that later. Put a little piece of angle there to support that. But I think we're good there. We got a post to build too. So let's trim up, get this wheel opening back off of the wheel well and see what we got to do to trim it up to get it in the right place. All right. I just got two little tacks on here. To me, this looks a lot straighter. It's the tail of the tape. About 4 3/4 from this line to this line. If I go over here, 4 3/4. That's where it needs to go. Yeah, I was like more than a 1/2 inch off from here to here on the last time. So let me mark this. I'm going to recut this line. Fall off, baby. Butt weld that. Cut. Just a little bit inside that line. Get us in the right place. Stay there. All right, let me slice down that, and we'll do some tack welds on there after we get that in place and make sure we're still in the right place. All right, that is much better. Let's take another look here. Set the trim like, I don't know, not even a 1/2 inch off that. So I'm 4 3/4 there. I'm 4 3/4 there. That is exactly where I want to be. Whew. And then when we put the engine in and we load it, it's going to come down a little bit. But we are going to put some drop spindles on this thing. Probably some 3-inch. And probably an axle flip in the back, because I want to get this thing kind of low. All right, so now, let me see where Campbell's looking at. Get this over here a little bit. All right. So I'm going to continue this strip, I think, over to about right here. Somewhere in here where this starts to widen. And then this is going to be the shape of the bottom of the door. I don't want to take the door down. I don't know if I want to take that lip down that narrow or not. I might. Still thinking about that. Yeah, I still got to figure out is this little piece I put in here going to be part of the body, or is this going to be part of the door? So we're still working on that part. Also, I went ahead and trimmed the back of the door. When I first cut it, it was kind of ragged looking. So I trimmed this off square back here. Because we're going to have to build that bottom door ledge. It's going to have to wrap around and then go out and leave a little bit of a drop there for my door ledge. So I still need to like cut off this round part of the door and do that. So that's not a big deal though. All right, so I think the next thing we're going to do here is, let's see. This is a little floppy there, but I can probably get a shape going off of that. So the door is probably going to only come down to right in here and across. I could put a piece of cardboard behind that and trace that and take that pattern and put it on that door half and cut that out. In fact, this has that lip on it, this body line, and this, so that's going to need to meet up to that. So I may end up like tacking the whole thing solid and then figuring out where to cut the door open. I kind of purposely left this loose so I got some movement, so I know where that's going to need to go. All right, I'm going to find a piece of cardboard and we're going to trace that out and see where that door, gosh dang it, is that what I want to do or not? I don't know if I want to do that or if I want to put that wheel well in there first to kind of strengthen it up. Thinking. I certainly don't want to cut that door wrong. All right, I'm gonna get the cardboard. We're gonna cut the door patch first. I don't know if I'm going to attach it yet, but that's what we're gonna do. All right, back in a minute. All right, there's my pattern, and there is what my door is gonna look like. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut this down a little bit lower, just in case I decide to go back, or in case I decide to make that door, this part, lower than what it is now. Don't know if I'm going to or not, but all right, let's go ahead and get this cut out. And we're gonna go ahead, I need to cut like this back part of it off, some of it. You know, we'll be trimming this up and reusing it. So yeah, I'm gonna cut the back of some of this too. We'll redo that. Maybe I'll just cut it on that seam. And we'll get it tacked into place and see what it looks like. But I think we're on the right path here. I think we're looking good. And my little profile piece of cardboard I used for this over there should work for this door too, I think. Yes, that does. Okay, so I can use this to line up the bottom part of that door with the top part of the door and make sure that we're in good shape. All right, let me get this cut out, and We'll clean a little bit of this paint off of this, and let's tack it on there, and let's see what we got. All right, so how's that looking? So that's what the door is going to be shaped like. Now this piece is just kind of dangling, so it's going to be out like this. But I figure the shape of my door, I'm going to cut. I got to fill this gap in. That piece got kind of mangled because it was so thin, but we'll go back and fix that. I'm going to cut, just follow this line right along here, and then cut below this body line here. Make this little triangle piece a part of the body, and then that will be my bottom door lip coming all the way around here. So pretty happy with that. I think that looks good. But I'll tell you what, I sure wish I had not cut this piece out of this other door. I just wasn't thinking. I needed that body line at the time, and I need the other part. I was thinking I needed this side of the door. I wasn't thinking I needed that side of the door. So I don't know if I'm gonna fix that, or if I'm gonna, I don't know what I'm gonna do. If I'm gonna source another door. I really don't want to take parts off the other van yet, even though I'm gonna use a lot of parts off it, because I still use it. You know, it's a good van to haul stuff with it. So I don't want to cut the door up on it. I guess I could. Nah, that wouldn't work either. I was gonna say I could cut a hunk out of the door and then just screw a piece of sheet metal over it for now until I'm ready to start cutting it up. It's an idea. I'll have to think about that. Okay, but so I was thinking last night, rather than go in with the wheel well and start making this footwell and everything right now, I think I want to get this profile finished up. I want to see what the whole outside of this is going to look like, kind of get that right, and then build off of that going in, rather than trying to build all that inside and then come out this way, because this is the most important part you're going to see. So all right, so I want to look at this nose piece, and to me it already looks too long. So I think we're going to end up cutting more off of here. But the problem I'm running into up here is this trough up here, or whatever you want to call it. That's where the windshield wiper assembly is. So it's got this step coming out. If it wasn't for this, I could be back flush with the firewall on that. So I was gonna use the you know, that panel over there. I was gonna go ahead and put that on there and make that to where you could just take it on and off if you needed to get to the wipers to work on them. But I'm thinking maybe if I screw this back up into here and unhook it from the motor, I can get an idea how much extra room I have to trim off of this. I'm not going to let this stand in the way of making the front end look like I want it to. If I have to, we'll come up with something. We'll put the darn wipers up on top, or we'll put the mechanism under the dash, or we'll figure something out. But I'm kind of wanting to cut this back so I can get the nose of this thing shorter. So let's dig out the pieces of the nose, see what we got, and we're going to see about building this, what we got to do to fill in this, and I'm going to have some kind of rocker down there for the base of the door to support the bottom wheel lip. I think there's enough on here. This little footwell is going to be short enough that I can use that for pretty much going there out far as I want to go. So, all right, let me do some thinking. We'll see what we got here. All right, so I went ahead and cut this piece of rocker panel off of there. We're still gonna use a portion of that for the footwell, but I'm not going to need much of it. So what we're going to do is take this piece, I'm going to tack it onto here, right back to here, because I'm going to have to figure out how to kind of bring this and the front of this together. And then I'm going to go ahead and whack this piece off straight. And then I've got this piece, which I cut off the front, and I cut 8 inches out of it already. But I'm going to cut some more out of it. And then we're going to line this body line up. I think I'm going to cut about 3 more inches off this. We're going to cut that body line off here. To tack this on, we're going to have to cut this piece off and bring it up here and stretch it. Put a filler piece in it to make that fit. And then we got to make this meet up with that. But that's kind of where I'm going. And I'll tell you what, having all these stripes on this thing has really been kind of cool, because it's gave me a lot of measuring reference points that I think I can, that have been really nice to use. So if anybody else is turning a conversion van into whatever we're turning this thing into, get one with stripes on it. You know, you got a lot of reference marks. Okay, so let me tack this piece on, and then I'm going to cut this. When I get the rest of this emblem off there, I'm going to find this piece that I cut out here. I'm not going to get it back in there. We'll grind that up and we'll tack that back in while we're tacking that on, because I want to kind of get a good picture of what it's going to look like. I need some sheet metal. I think I got an old hood in here somewhere. I might be able to cut some out, but I don't have any fresh sheet metal. I might have to get some. Okay, let me tack this on and we'll take a look at what we got. Okay, we've got that rocker tacked on there, and I think I like where it's at, like what it looks like. I went and cut a little off the front. I went with 2 inches instead of 3. If you can see in that profile here, this is already sticking out past this line. Get straight. So once we put the front end onto that, I mean, it might be, I might have to slice a little bit out of the middle of that, but let's get this front piece tacked on here, and I'll get this little filler piece in here and just get a visual of how long that front looks. And then we'll kind of decide if that's what we want, or if we want to go shorter. But I think that's going to be good. All right, let me get that piece, and I got to do a little prep work on it, and I got to find that little piece, that little filler piece, and we'll get that on there. All right, so I got the back of this tacked onto here and kind of got that stabilized a little bit, and I can see I went ahead and got that cut off, got my patch piece in, and got the front piece tacked on there. So what I'm trying to figure out is I was thinking a piece like coming up here and rounding into this to make that corner, and leaving this line down here might look good, but I don't know. Another thing I'm thinking of doing is cutting right along here, moving this piece up to here. I'll have to put a filler piece out in there, kind of stretch it out, and then lengthen this in here, this up here to meet this, So that would put my hump up here somewhere. I think I kind of like that idea a little bit better. And then down here, we just need to make these two up. So I think I'm gonna have to trim off in here and get this piece just to where it'll fold over a little bit. Oops. And meet this and flow into that. And then just gonna make this one filler piece in here and we're there. And actually I think what I got left out of this door, which is this, no, that's not quite gonna be enough. But I've got an old hood up top. I think I can probably make it out of that. And then so I continued that, like that body line above the stripes continues here on the door. So I'm thinking, do I want to like make it fade out up in here and then go flat before it goes here? That's kind of what I'm going to have to do. And that's doable. So, all right, but I'm coming along real good so far. Pretty happy with it. Okay. So I'll tell you what, I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's whack this off here. Just a little bit above that line. And let's get this guy up here. And I'm probably going to have to cut it here, put the rounded part out here, put this part in here, and then put a little filler piece in the middle to make it wider. And I do not want to put the Chevy grill back on this thing, so at some point we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do with that, because it's got this here that's going to have to go, but that's going to be later. I want to get this profile done, get this filled in, get it where I like it, and then we'll get the wheel well in where it's going to go. We'll build the footwell, we'll build supports for this, we'll get all this sturdy over here, fix the floor on this side, and cut the door open and do all those goodies in there. So then this used to be that was the marker light. That's going to go, and we'll just trim this down and flatten that over there. It's not a big deal. All right, let me cut this off and we'll take a look. Okay, I'm liking that. So we're gonna have to make a filler piece for that. It lines up okay over here, but it doesn't line up in the front. Let's see, which isn't a big deal. We'll fix all that when we make the front. All right, so I'm gonna make a filler piece for that. And I think I'm gonna get my DA out with some 40 grit. And I think I'm gonna knock some of this paint off here. I just wanna see what this looks like without all of that on there. And get a better visual for it. And then I'm gonna eat some lunch, and we're gonna start on this bottom piece here. I got some ideas of what to do there. I don't think that's going to be too terribly difficult. I kind of got the picture in my head, so let's just get there and see what we got. All right, so this is a piece I cut out of the fender initially. This is my 8-inch piece, and I think I could turn this like this and cut a section out of that to meet that. Yeah, that should work. All right, let me do a little whacking on this thing. We'll take a look before we tack it in there. All right, so that piece fit in there pretty good. So I'm gonna butt weld here, just do a few dots. Butt weld up here, do a few dots, and on this top edge, I'll do the old slicing butt or cutting butt or whatever them guys call it. We'll just take the cut-off wheel and cut through both layers, and then work them together and tack that. But that really changed the look of it. I'm liking it. So yeah, let me get this on there, and then I'm gonna get that little hunk of parking light off. I'm gonna get my DA out and just knock that all down to bare metal and see what that looks like. I just want to get that picture in my head. Okay, back in a second. All right, there we go. I thought I had some 40 grit DA paper. I guess I used it all up. So I just did it with my die grinder and then hit it with some 80 to get some of the scratches out. But I like it. I like it a lot. And I think I'm not gonna have to cut that trough back. I think I'm gonna be using the hood to make this piece up here. And yeah, I think that's gonna work exactly like I'm thinking. Or maybe not. Anyway, I'm gonna grab some lunch and we're gonna finish this little bottom thing up. We're gonna curve that to make that meet that other piece. And then we got to make a piece for that hole, and it may end up 2 pieces because I've got this step on the door that I want to try to kind of carry over and then maybe fade it, and there's enough of the door, that old door there, to do it. So yep, that's what we're gonna do. But I'm digging it. I'm so glad I went back and moved that wheel well. You know, sometimes you're doing these things, you just got to, you know, you just got to stop and keep looking at it, and stop and keep looking at it, and stop. And that's what I'm finding out. So, all right, I'm gonna go grab some lunch and be back in a bit. All right, so I did a little slicing here, and a little there, and a little there. Excuse me. And just kind of bent that up, made this little piece right here, and made it so it would flow into that piece there. And the curve looks pretty straight, so I'm pretty happy with that. Still need to weld up the slices down there, and then we'll make a inner rocker for that to stabilize that once that's all done. So now we're gonna fill this opening, and what I want to do is have this line, this body line, kind of transition up into here, and then I found this other piece. See what I did with it? Over here. All right, this came out of the cab corner that we didn't use everything out of, and I'm wondering, can I use this curve to kind of end that piece? You know what I'm saying? Kind of make that to where maybe over in here that we make this body line come to a nice conclusion. You know, we come over here and then we got a little bit of an indentation and we sweep it down. I think that will work, and I think that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm not sure where. If I do it here, if I do it, maybe we do it over here. But I got about 3 different ones of these, so I think we can make this into something. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I've got plenty of this. I'm going to measure this across here, and I'm going to cut this out of the other door, leave me a little extra, and just kind of figure out how we're going to do this and this, how we're going to end this body line, and then once we got that in there, then we just need to make the piece from here to here. That's pretty much just a square with a little turn in, so that part should be easy. But I want to get this part squared away first. Let me measure and cut that, and we'll take a look at it. All right, so here's what I did. I just, instead of cutting that piece off that other door, I just welded this piece on here. And this line really that's hot. Really matches up nice with this line. As you can see, it just goes over, curves down, and then I flattened it here just to kind of have it fade back into flat metal. And I think that's a good way to, you know, kind of give that body line a place to go, so it's not just stopping somewhere. This one up here, I don't know if you can see it or not, but when they took this along the door, it just kind of fades down into the door. And it's capped off nice there. So I think I'm just gonna stop that one there. And then we'll just go ahead and make a cardboard template. Cut out a piece of metal to fit this. I think that I can kind of bend by hand. It doesn't look too difficult. And we'll get that thing tacked in there and see what we got. All right, I pulled this little hood down. It's a 48 Plymouth hood. Been around here probably for 15 years. The rails were rusted out on it, but the metal's good, so I hung on to it, tried to sell it. Nobody wanted it, so scrap metal it is. So I got this piece cut out, and we're just going to, I'm going to tack this top line in, get it lined up, and then just kind of work it around as I go. And I'll show you what it looks like when we're done here. But I think that's going to fit in there nice. Same gauge metal, and it's in good shape. So, all right, let's do some tacking. Take a look. Okay, so we're tacked here. We're tacked here. Those are all flush. So I need to do a little cut and butt down here. I'm overlapping a little there. I need to trim this off to make that gap line up. I need to cut and butt there, and I need to cut and butt there. And that should be it. All right, let me get that done. And I'll go ahead and knock the paint off this, and we'll see what this looks like. All right, there we go. And I am really happy with it. I think it looks cool. Went way faster than I thought it would once I just kind of changed directions and reset a little bit. And so anyway, I'm going to give the credit to two guys, to Bad Chad and Fitzy's Fabrication, because when I started, I didn't do none of this kind of stuff till I started watching those guys. And then after watching them a while, I was like, you know, I've built cars for years and years and years, and hundreds of them. But, you know, it's usually just you throw a fast motor in it and do a little restoration work. So then, you know, body and paint. But this thing was the first thing I tried to do something radical to me on. And then, you know, watching both those guys, the stuff they do every day gave me the courage, I don't know, whatever, to say, hey, I'm gonna jump into this and I'm gonna try it. And they're both really good teachers, so watch their channels if you don't. I'm sure everybody that's out there watches their channels. They got millions of subscribers. So, but anyway, it came out really good. So I'm a rookie. If I can do it, you can do it too. So on the next video, we're going to I'm going to work on getting that wheel well in there, and I want to get starting to get some of this supported. But I'll tell you what, it's pretty sturdy now compared to what it was when I put it on there. So let's take a look in here. What we're going to do next. Okay. We're going to get this wheel well back in. We're going to get, I think I'm going to patch this part of the floor because like the wheel well is here. So now we'll go over and come up, and this will just be an extra flat part of the floor. We'll take it back to about here because that's where, and here somewhere because it's where our footwell is going to be. And And I want to get that wheel well in and get these brackets welded back on there and get that stabilized. Once I do that and get that piece of floor in, I think we're going to cut this door open and maybe I'll have to think about that. But cut the door open and look at building the inner bottom of the door and what that's going to look like. So lots to do on this side yet. But that's going to be it for today. So let's go in and get a word from the Lord, and we'll call it for today. Hey everybody, so thanks for following along on the video today. Had a good time with that thing, and really I got a lot more done than I thought I was going to, man. It started rolling once I got the ideas flowing and kind of got things in place. So I just wanted to do a quick message. You know, we're in the Christmas season here, and we had our Christmas concert at church last week. Went really good. It was awesome to have see so many people there that you don't normally see at church, and you know that we're invited by other people. So you know, a lot of prayers for them that you know that the Lord is calling to them while they're there, and that they'll end up coming back, if not to our church, to another church. And then we've got our Christmas Eve service coming up this week, this coming week. And I've been playing some more music for that, so looking forward to that. So I just wanted to give a little bit of the true Christmas message. Nothing to do with Santa Claus, nothing to do with presents, nothing to do with all that stuff. So take some time with your kids, with your grandkids. You know, when you're getting ready to open presents and you get done with your food, take a few minutes and read the true story, you know, and let the kids read it. You know, that's just great stuff for them, and let them know that comes first. That's before the presents and all the commercial yada yada stuff. So let's look at the one out of the book of Matthew. Now this is Matthew 1 starting in verse 18. Before that, it kind of did a little bit of genealogy getting up to Christ, and it says, "Now the birth of Jesus Christ was on this wise. When his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Spirit. Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man, and not willing to make her a public example, was minded to put her away privately." Essentially, he was going to divorce her. "But when he thought on these things, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream, saying, Joseph, thou son of David, fear not to take unto thee Mary thy wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Spirit. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins. Now all this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which is being interpreted is God with us. Then Joseph, being raised from sleep, did as the angel of the Lord had bidden him, and took unto him his wife, and knew her not until she had brought forth her firstborn, and he called his name Jesus." So, you know, kudos to Joseph there. You know, this is back in a very, very strict time where, you know, would look very bad on a woman if she was found to have had sex before marriage, and could essentially ruin her life, you know. And here Joseph comes home and finds out she's pregnant, you know. And you know, how hard would that be to have that trust in her? The Lord must have really spoken to his heart and let him know that it was the right thing to do, that that she was fulfilling that prophecy. So you know, when I read that story, I often think about what, you know, how would it be if I was Joseph? Would I have been able to have that kind of trust? But anyway, just very very cool verse to read. I mean, it's one we've heard many times in our life. People who don't go to church at all will probably know a lot of that verse, but that's just kind of my thoughts on it. So make sure you share the story with your, like I said, with your kids, your grandkids. If there's no kids around, if it's you and your wife or you and your girlfriend, sit down and read the story together. If it's just you, sit down and read the story, and understand what this season's all about. So let's have a quick prayer. Father, we just thank you for this time of year, and thank you for giving your Son to us through Mary, for that supernatural birth, and for fulfilling that prophecy, and we just thank you for the gift that He gave of Himself, that we might be saved, that we might have a path to heaven, and just help us to be mindful of that always, and to take the time to preach your word everywhere we go. And we ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen. All right, hit like, hit subscribe. Make sure you share this with some friends. Next video, like I said, we're going to work on that side some more and work on supporting that, getting the wheel well in and kind of getting some supports on the inside. And so it's rolling right along. So anyway, probably put another video up next week. I'll try to. We'll see. It's Christmas weekend. Not sure if I'll get to it or not. But if I don't, Merry Christmas, and we'll catch you on the next one.